right. Aloha kakahiyaka and good morning, everyone. Yeah, we should definitely just start this day off with, well, I love coffee, so I definitely need to be taking a sip of this, but I'd love to start the day off with, I just want to kind of run everybody through what Ancient Future Fathers is going to be looking like. Tell you a little bit about myself and the 10 modules that we're going to be teaching over the next couple months. But we're going to try and get those lessons out hopefully by the end of this month to begin, the process of teaching everybody what we're trying to get out there into the world. But yeah, so let's just, for one, just kind of check in, close your eyes, maybe take a sip of coffee. Check in with yourself, check in with your body. How was the night before? Did you have any good dreams? What were they about? And what are you feeling? Are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling relaxed? Are you feeling like you want to go grab your surfboard and head down to the water and go catch a couple waves before the sun comes up? Because that's kind of how I feel right now. Yeah, just check in with your body, see where you're at. Take in a good deep breath into your now, which is your tummy. Everything that I've been taught with the various ceremonies that I do and hobbies, archery, spearfishing, diving, running, living, all comes back to breath. So it's all about learning the proper form of breath. And I think that's where we should start. We should just start with our breath, because that is why we're alive right now. And the best way to do that is to learn to not use your chest when you're breathing. The chest is a stress reaction, and once you're able to fully relax into your body, you'll realize that you really don't need to use your chest, back, or shoulders for breath. And all you need to do is, when you breathe in, let your lungs fully fill up, let your diaphragm expand. And you're just going to be using your stomach, all of your stomach muscles and your diaphragm. And when you're able to do that, you're able to get a lot more oxygen into your body. And what that does is give your cells energy to move and to help get that energy flowing within who you are. And so with that, let's just start with a couple minute meditation, focusing just on breath. You don't need to breathe fast. You don't need to breathe slow. Just close your eyes and begin the meditation. What's really cool about meditation is there's no rhyme or reason, there's no rules. And so the whole point of it is just to be aware. So close your eyes, see what images start to come through. If it's physical, if it's mental, where's your mind going? And always go back to breathing in the most relaxed state, seeing where your capacity is with your lungs and what you want to get accomplished for the day. What are those things? What do you got to do? You got a bunch of meetings, got a couple phone calls you want to make, friends you want to talk to, people you want to eat lunch with, and probably not even on your mind right now because most of us haven't even had breakfast yet. But what are you gonna have for dinner? You gonna go kill a deer or catch a fish and cook it up for your family and friends? What's on your mind? All right. Oh, that felt amazing. Now that I'm a bit more grounded and dropped in, last night was actually a really good night. The twins slept for the majority of the night, so I actually got some sleep. So that was amazing. And I just kind of wanted to get into who I am and how this ancient future fathers kind of came to fruition with my really good friend Kalian's song. And yeah, so my name's Sam Young. I was born and raised on Maui. I have a beautiful family. I had four offspring. The first one, Naya, she kind of was the catalyst, not kind of, she was the catalyst for me to fully embody myself, because she pushed me to my limit. She had a very rare form of epilepsy. It was partial migrating seizures of infancy, and she only lived to 3.5. She would be 10 this year, and we had run for our money. Nothing, like no pharmaceuticals worked. She had 7 to 9 seizures a day. Each seizure would last anywhere from 30 seconds to 2 minutes, and if it was a grand mal, then it wouldn't stop, and so we had to use major pharmaceuticals to get her back on track. And Naya was an amazing, beautiful soul, and she couldn't walk, she couldn't talk, she couldn't really see like how we see, and her body did not function the way that our bodies function because she wasn't really able to move. And so we had to do caths, we had to do enemas, and none of the pharmaceutical medications that were prescribed by the neurologist worked on her. And so for me, it was a trial of sleep deprivation, stress, anxiety. She would scream for days, sometimes even weeks on end, and there's no way to stop it. And so we luckily, my wife Sonia, she's a freaking angel. I love her so much. Yeah, this is kind of hard to talk about actually. Wow. So we had an entire community backing us, helping us, supporting Naya. And that's when she passed away. The mourning process for me was gnarly. I was super angry at the world. I was angry at myself, that there weren't any answers, and that even though we tried our best, she still passed away at 3.5, and basically like in our arms. And so what that brought me to was ceremony. And so, and my background's, so getting more back into me, my background's archaeology. So I studied a lot of ancient traditions from, Western society to North American, South American, Mesoamerican, and Eastern Eastern philosophy, especially Tibetan and Confucianism and all the different isms that there are in the world. And what I found is that in our modern society, there really isn't, other than like and even Christianity doesn't really have it, but like that, it's this sense of ceremony, of living in ceremony every day, every moment, and that's what Naya brought to me, um, was to relearn this and to live every day with intention, to live every moment with intention, because you don't know what's going to happen in 5 minutes, honestly. No idea. You don't know if you're even going to make it through the rest of the day, let alone the night. And so, or at least that's the belief I have within myself. And so, in knowing that truly with my heart, um, I live life 110%. So if it's going out to Jaws to go surf, or to get on a kayak with some friends to go catch some fish, or to sit in men's circles or sweat lodge with my brothers and sisters to pray for this community and world with intention and love and compassion, I'm gonna go do it, and I'm gonna be there, and I'm gonna live this, and that's what we want to spread in this world, because the women got it down. They've got an amazing connection community that they have set up, and what us men have been realizing is that, other than, like the traditional American society of like, all right, let's drink some beer, watch some football or some UFC fights, and then make fun of each other all day, really isn't touching in deeply with each other. And is that even true friendship? That's another question, right? Like, I've got guys in my life now that I know can tell me that they love me. I know that they'll cry with me. I know that they will drop in fully compassionate individuals, and as they're fully embracing through initiatory rites, through trials and tribulations, to be in their divine masculine is kind of what we've been coining it. So getting back into me though, so Naya would be 10. Sonia and I have, what was really crazy is when Naya passed away, we found out that we were pregnant that morning. Sonia sent me a picture of the birth. Wow, can't even think of the name. But yeah, so basically she sent me the pregnancy picture, and I was like, wow, okay, we're having another one. Naya's doing great. And then I got up and walked into the room, and she was not doing good. And moving, kind of fast forwarding to her last breaths, Denali's heartbeat started while hers stopped, which is, like divine. I don't know what you even want to call it, but creation was there. And we then got right back on the horse. Naya passed away. It was this bittersweet catch-22 of losing a life and a new life coming in. And Denali is a healthy boy. He's now 5.5, and he is not afraid to tell you that he's 5.5, going on 40. And he's an amazing soul that we now have. And fast forward 5.5 years, since Naya's death, almost, 6.5, 7 years ago, I've been sitting in ceremony. I've been doing men's work. I've been working on all these different aspects of myself, and there's still a lot to work on, because there is no way that I'm going to learn everything in this lifetime. But the best that I can do is just be present and compassionate while I'm here, as much as I can, being human. And we now have 2 months now. On November 19th, Sonia at the house was this amazing warrior. She she, we had it completely set up, but she she home birthed twins at the house, which is in the same exact spot that Denali was born. And it was a beautiful birth. It was heavy. But man, that was just more blessings coming into this world. The twins, they just the past trauma with Naya at 2 months, her whole pregnancy, Naya was normal up until 2 months. And then at 2 months, she started having seizures. And that's when it started getting heavy. So with the twins being born, always in the back of Sonia in my mind, he's like, shit, are they fucking normal? Like, okay, like, all right, let's do this. And, hearing the cries and seeing the little twitches. And, that's another big thing with new fathers. Like, you've no idea. These little things are pretty freaking sturdy. And even though they're flopping around, they're this little, like, blob of human. They're in there, and they're really, really strong. And so it takes a bit, and you're going to be hearing the cries, and you got to figure out what those cries are. And so the twins just made it a week past 2 months, no seizures. They are 100% normal, and so twins' names are Everest and Atlas, and so Atlas is the boy and Everest is the girl. And so what's really cool is Everest is like third percentile. She's tiny. She's a little feather, but she's so aware. Her eyes, she'll lock onto you, and that's Naya never gave us eye contact. I rarely got eye contact from Naya, and Everest came out looking at everyone, which for me I was like, oh, wow, that's special. And then Atlas is this just big dude. He's in the 70th percentile. He's almost 4 or 5 pounds heavier than Everest now. So he's a big brother. And he's not afraid to let you know that he needs a bottle or his diaper changed. So that's been an adjustment, because all the other babies we've had have been super mellow and super easy. And it gets into like partnership and relationships. Like my relationship with Sonia, she's my soulmate. I love her so much, and we're sleep deprived. And so everyone's a little edgy. Like, even waking up this morning, I'm like, ugh, like I would love to have an entire week of sleep right now, but that's not gonna happen. And so there's that underlying edge that I try to meditate out of who I am, or go surfing. And if I get in the water and I go catch a wave, like that edge is gone. It's amazing. But yeah, like for me, moving through family, I'm adopted. I've known it my whole life. I've had a lot of friends that were adopted growing up, and as you can see, I grew up white, one holy boy on Maui bra. And growing up here, being adopted, the issues that I have, that I work on within myself constantly, is that I have, number one, abandonment issues. So I was the story that I've told myself for years until recently is that I was abandoned. I wasn't wanted. And, I'm in now a family that loves me, but, like, why was I given up? And so that's a big thing that I work on. And then the other parts of who I work on too, which is this self-sabotaging piece that throws me out of integrity with infidelity issues that I have, that I've been working on with my entire life, with how I grew up, with sexual traumas that I've experienced, and all sorts of other stuff. Because, I mean, let's be real. Everyone in this world has their traumas, and there's no judgment on what those traumas are being labeled as. Like, my traumas could be, which they are, sexual abuse to me, and then another person could have a dad that was mad at them and yelled at them. So there's no judgment on a man's trauma. Trauma is trauma. That's what it was. And so getting into through me and the stuff that I'm working on, like career wise, I went to school for archaeology, but I actually how do I put this? So basically became a project engineer at a construction firm. and then worked my way through working through all sorts of different renovation projects and build outs and different houses and stuff like that. I became a project manager for actually energy and electricity, which I kind of, gravitated passionately towards, and restoration work because I like rebuilding old things in a new way. And so I'm a project manager. My last project was actually working on the Lahaina rebuild, um, helping procure over 100 tiny homes to be put over the Kalaiola site for the state project above the Hawaiian homelands near the Lahaina Civic Center, and helping build the YMCA resiliency out there, um, kind of managing the Sacred Hearts school coming in. So that was a really cool opening, bringing the school back over there, and just doing builds that are not just development, and very intentional building, and building in a way that's going to bring community, bring people together, and the education system is so important, and so which also needs to be rewritten, but it is very important for our kids to have a place where they can go and learn. Um, and another big one too is we just finished installing the Maui food bank over there, and so having a play, and like, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but like, you can go to the Maui food bank. They're not going to turn anybody away. It's free food, and all you got to do is just walk in there, sign out, and you can have eggs, steak, burger, all sorts of really good dragon fruit. These guys have such an amazing resource of food, for everybody. Yeah, it is focused on people who cannot, are in need of food. But yeah, so those are some of the projects recently that I've built on Maui. And then before that, I built or was on a massive team building the Kuilani Solar Farm, which was this 500-acre farm of solar panels, which is the biggest farm in the state. It was 83 megawatts DC, which is huge. And then and then there was basically the battery storage, which was a whole nother electrical phenomenon of putting these 53 40-foot containers together in 4 different grids to provide 240 megawatt hours of battery. And when you put all that together, it sounds like really big numbers, but honestly, what it is 4 hours of battery energy to pump back into the grid for the Maui community. 4 hours, that's it. 240 megawatts is 4 hours for 150,000 people. It's so funny to even think about that. But it's in a place on Maui that you fly over, and it's in a spot that I could support, where you can't really grow stuff other than like sheep. And so there's sheep under the panels, there's bees, and they're trying their best to have an agricultural collaboration underneath the panels, because there's so much land underneath them, and there's grass. The grass grows underneath it, so that's really cool. And then the other thing that I do, which I do quite a few different things, but it's good to just get it out, is I do material science, and I've invented an electric jet ski. And so our company, I'm a co-founder with my biological brother, who I met. That's a whole really cool story that I'll get into in a bit. And I also work with my biological dad on this voltage vessels company. We're funded by the Department of Energy. The company actually doesn't make money. It's just a research company. And we've been doing it for the past 7 years, and has gone through all sorts of trials and tribulations. But long story short, we created an electric jet ski that 100% worked, and there's a video of it on this channel if you want to watch it. And it was pretty cool. We built this thing, and what happened from there is we've now gravitated towards building an electric boat, or boats, and that's what we're currently doing. We have partnerships set up with various entities. A couple of them already have 10 prototypes built that we're working with, and we've been on them. They're silent, they're amazing, and it's going to change the way that we interact with the ocean. And being someone that's so entrenched in the water here, it's amazing to be able to say that we're gonna transition. Like, we'll have electric ferries here in Hawaii. And getting back to last year, number one, we successfully submitted a $160 million grant that would have brought, if it had been awarded, would have brought Maui County $160 million to rebuild their harbors. So we would have rebuilt Lahaina Harbor, we would have rebuilt Ma'alaya Harbor, we would have rebuilt Lanai Harbor, and we would have rebuilt Kaunakakai Harbor, as well as resurrected the ferry system in a way that first would have been combustion motor transportation and reliable transportation for all of the Molokai Ohana and the Lanai Ohana to come over and get reliant healthcare stuff. So like going to doctor's appointments and stuff, because Mokulele is unreliable at this current time. And so it would have solved all these issues, but unfortunately we did not get awarded the grant. Maybe we were too ambitious asking for the 160 million or not, but for what was so cool about it is that within 1 month, when we found out about the grant's deadline, we literally had 3 weeks to fill out a $160 million grant. I got everyone together. We didn't sleep for 3 weeks. And I got every single department, or we got every single department of the state to give us an endorsement letter, Maui County to give us an endorsement letter, and that means like DLNR, DOPAR, Harbor Division, everybody was backing this thing. And so what that shows is that we now have a template to get resources from the federal government, which, working with Gabe Johnson, he's been such a huge support, not just with this EPA zero emissions grant, but with the Epic Swim Maui that we also did this year. And so, moving from this EPA crazy grant that we submitted to Epic Swim, which we had been working on for 2 years. Robbie Seeger, really good friend, neighbor, amazing guy. We did it. We've not only filmed it, but we got 14 swimmers from around the world to fly in here from 13 different countries. And I was like the guy with Archie and put all the boats together with Robbie, and it was crazy. We swam around Maui, and it took us 3 weeks. It was 138 miles, and there was only 4 swimmers that actually finished, and then there was me using my my buddy Justin invented these things called jet boots. And you'll see some of the videos on here too, but they have the ability to give me more water time than a jet ski's gas tank. So I have 4 batteries that I can switch out, which I proved that this was possible. So with the 4 batteries, I was able to travel basically like 30 miles underwater, self-propelled with 2 torpedoes on my kind of on my thighs and the battery bank on my back. And I basically free dove around Maui, which was the most insane, coolest thing I've ever done. And that's actually what kind of inspired me to kind of get back onto YouTube and do this ancient father things, because for me that was this huge ceremonial. I mean, we met with every kumu in every district of the Aupua systems of Maui, and did the reverse King's Trail, which a lot of people don't understand that, but basically it's a peace walk. And so instead of going around clockwise, we were running around counterclockwise. And with a lot of ancient traditions, that's going against time, going against the past, which means not war. It means community, compassion, and working together on things, and bringing awareness, and what we in Hawaii call aloha, which is the breath, bringing the breath of life and love to everyone. So that was some big accomplishments. And then having the twins on 11/19, like I am 100% in it, and loving every moment of every day. And so that's just a little grain of salt of who I am and my accomplishments of what I've created. But on top of that, I've been doing a lot of men's work. And so working with Mankind Project and having men's circles over at my house, and doing sweat lodges, and sitting with various different types of medicines. And so, the vision that we have and the problem that we have and why Ancient Future Fathers is coming to fruition is that today, and I can 100% vouch for this, is that today, like many men are struggling in modern society. There's so many disconnects that are available, like, honestly, like YouTube, like Instagram, and there's not places for men to be vulnerable, to talk about relationships, to talk about how to, be a leader, and in a way that, like truly feels authentic to who we are, and creating like the emotional intelligence, and in gaining emotional intelligence, being able to figure out who we are as individuals and as men, to build a legacy for our kids and for our community, because this is rarely taught, but is honestly some of the most essential stuff. And this isn't just for men, this is like men and women. And I might have to stop this video because I got a little guy crying out there. So basically, the solution that the men and I have come up with, Colin and I, is Ancient Future Fathers, which was this endeavor that we're going to be putting out to the world, which is a transformative journey that blends basically ancient wisdom with modern strategies and techniques, and getting back into, yeah, I gotta go. And but basically, just to finish this off, is, it's creating a community of intentional fathers, leaders, elders, and getting men to live everyday life with purpose and integrity. And so the kind of the course overview is that there's 9 modules. And those kind of 9 modules, what they're going to get into are, number 1, vulnerability as strength. The man cave, so like entering the womb space of the divine masculine at your house, and creating that intentional space. Embracing your feelings and emotional intelligence. Number 4 is a big one, especially for me. It's addressing basically objectivity, porn addiction, and the societal normalizing of infidelity, and then being a dad in modern times, initiatory rites for our kids, so boys becoming men, these big transitionary periods within our life, and girls, so like girls becoming a woman. There's not a lot of initiatory rites. Judaism has a really good one, but there's not a lot other than that I know about in society that we're bringing back to life, and women are taking on the girls and having the initiatory rites to making them women, and truly take that transitionary death of being a child to reborn as a woman with purpose and confidence. Same for boys to men. Artist pun there. Anyway, so and then the next one is living life in ceremony. So there's ways of living in life that really bring people back to what in Hawaii we call the ao and the po. So the balance between the two, the yin and the yang, which ao is the light or the divine masculine, po is the divine feminine. And feminine is eternal, masculine is actually not in this perception. And so what that means is that our thoughts and our minds are so powerful that we can perpetuate negative with negative. So if you have negative thoughts, negative loops that you're perpetuating, you will continue to perpetuate those. If you have positive thoughts that you're recognizing, they will perpetuate positive experiences in reality. So what this means is that when you live your life in ceremony, you're recognizing those things. And so this is honestly probably one of the most important modules that we're going to go over. And if the human is able to do that, I'm really pushing it. But basically the next ones are cultivating with the ceremony, emotional intelligence and focusing this in your relationships that you have, with your partner, with your family, with your mom and dad and brothers and sisters and any uncles, aunties, all that stuff. Cultivating that emotional intelligence. And if you're able to do that, then we can have so much more rewarding relationships with each other. And so that's what's so neat about this stuff. Is that if we can get the majority of our community here, I mean, maybe just say Maui, it's going to transform the way that we interact in this world. And this is the very first step of that. There's a mass awakening. Everyone's, starting to do ceremonies and different plant medicines and stuff that are really awakening who we are as human beings. And this is all part of that transformative process. And then the last one is that we don't live forever. Like, that's what's so beautiful about being a human that only lives for about 100 years, if you're lucky, is that we're not permanent. And even though our energy and our soul might be eternal, we are only here for so long. So that impact that we make here is very, very, very important. And a lot of people are distracted and they don't understand that. And they kind of just move through life either in a negative looping pattern of like, oh, I don't have this and I don't have that. And it's like you only have so much time. So if you don't have what you're desiring or what you're passionate for, then you're kind of missing your purpose here. And so it's like, let's take the time to really analyze and evaluate who we are as individuals and what really, makes our clock tick. Like for me, like I love building new material and building boats and, doing men's work and getting this information out to people. It's for me, it's a very passionate thing for me to do that, because if I can heal myself, and then if other men can see that I'm healed, then they can heal themselves, and there's that option, which is so freaking cool. And so with that, that's legacy building. So building something for your kids so they have something to go to, or at least have the tools to be successful individuals with beautiful families and have their own offspring in a way where, we don't pass down our trauma to them, which is a total genetically generational thing that's been happening for thousands and thousands of years. Because we are perpetual human beings. And yeah, so that's kind of it. It's like each module is designed to create this real lasting change within the human being. And with the practical exercises and with the deep reflections and creating this community support, it's going to change people's lives forever. And that's the reason why we're doing this. So with that, I'm out. And let's kind of end this. I think Everest is done crying because Sonia's probably giving her a little feed. But yeah, let's end this with some intentional meditation. Because it always gets back, even through all this information, it gets back to really just dropping in to that breath. And close your eyes, take in the information that was just shared. And I just want to thank everybody for coming onto this video, watching the video, taking the time to listen to the words that are being spread. And yeah, I'm just going to be sitting with gratitude, and drop into yourself and see what you're sitting with. Is it gratitude? Is it compassion? Is it excitement? Or are you, those are the positive attributes, or is there a negative attribute? There's no wrong. There's no right. There's no good. There's no bad. Just what are you feeling within who you are after listening to this? And just take a couple breaths. They don't have to be fast. They don't have to be slow. They just have to be you. And that's what this is all about. It's about becoming you and being comfortable with who you are. And with that, I'm out. Have a beautiful day. Love you all. Aloha.